All right. Test, test,
Test.
test, test.
Oh, and we are back with Convincing Idiots. And of course, my name is Dean. Brian here. We are talking about now parallel universes?
Yes.
Mirror universes? Well, there's Brian, I said to you this earlier. There is a study coming out of Oak Ridge National Laboratory, or laboratory, wherever you're from.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I'm from America, so I should probably have said laboratory, but, you know.
Sure.
My heritage is from England, so I will go with laboratory.
Yeah.
Oak Ridge National Laboratory. I'm pausing because I'm grabbing my readers here because, you know, I'm old, being the Xennial. Scientists in Tennessee are working at the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in eastern Tennessee have announced they're trying to figure out whether or not parallel universes exist. They have begun trying to open a portal into another dimension. Physicist Leah Broussard announcing they'll be experimenting with firing a beam of neutrons through a 50-foot tunnel. She says, if my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit. That's good. So they're trying to see if you're in the belief that there are parallel universes just beyond ours. You know, this is some crazy shit. What does this mean, Brian? What does this tell us for the future, for our knowledge of the known universe or the known parallel universe?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to get your head around it here a little bit. I read up on the same article. I'm looking at one from NBCnews.com. Now, this is from 2019, but you know, obviously they were experimenting at the time. I don't know if I saw anything current on it. I don't know how it's going. So I know we were researching this a little bit, but
I figured if they would, if they found it, they're not going to tell us. You know what I mean? That's shit they're going to keep you know, under wraps.
Yeah, but obviously there's are scientists spending actual time and experimenting on this stuff. They have actual working theories that they were experimenting with, and it was something along the lines of they had some neutrons within a glass bottle or a glass encase or something like that, and they were reacting differently than that. So it just the thought of a parallel universe is kind of mind blowing, you know. So you know, and she was saying something like, you know, you're not going to see something like, you're not going to have an evil Spock with a goatee. You're not going to have like an evil version of yourself, but it would be the same. I guess her theory was it would be the same. We'd all be the same, doing the same thing, just in a parallel universe. So it's not like one reality could potentially go somewhere else or something, like the multiverse that we're seeing a lot about in the Marvel movies these days. So I don't know, man. So first of all, is this something at all that you believe in? Do you think there's any, you know, obviously science is so much, there's so many unknowns out there. Hell, there's unknowns at the bottom of our own oceans that we have no idea what's at the bottom of our own oceans yet, with creatures, and who knows what the hell's down there. So there's a lot more to explore. That's real stuff on our own planet that we haven't been able to get to, let alone, you know, something at this level here. So do you have any belief in this at all, or is this something that they're wasting time on, or is it just at least an interesting theory that they should be trying to test out? What are your thoughts on all this?
This is bullshit. Good night, everybody. Have a good
All right.
Okay. No. Let me tell you this, Brian. I am a firm believer in this.
Okay.
My religious beliefs, for do or whatnot, I am a Christian.
Okay.
But with those beliefs, I am not a believer in everything they tell me. I believe that there is shit out there that A, we're not being told, and B, we don't understand. To me, I've always assumed in my belief that the next step, maybe heaven or what people consider, because to me, I think all of these religions and all of these ideas, scientific ideas, why aren't they all together just not understood because of the conflict between all of the different ones? Why are they not? Why can't they all be intertwined in a way that we just don't understand or doesn't make sense? So maybe the people that think that you're reincarnated isn't the idea that you die and you come back as a turtle. Maybe it's you go on to the next plane and that just fades away and you move on to the next you and live that life. And then after that, you go, the plane dissolves, or the universe, what they're trying to do there in that study, that plane just, maybe everything is right there. I'm doing John Cena. You can't see me.
Mm-hmm.
But what's to say that every universe isn't literally in front of us? Isn't just in our plain view, not physically of like you spread it apart like a sheet, but just the fabric of a reality and time is a concept that we've agreed upon. Time, literally the clock, we base that upon the rotations of the sun. I get that.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole time thing is literally something that we've agreed upon. Our age is something we've agreed upon. Yes, it's based on scientific ideas of the sun and the rotation, but I don't think we quite understand exactly what's going on around us. And I think that's the beauty of when you die, you not only get it, but you absorb into it. In my opinion, everything that is, all right, for example, and I'm going to get real fucking weird. You ready to get weird, Brian? Let's get fucking weird. For example, when Bigfoot, all right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you expecting that one? All right, let's do this. Bigfoot. People talk about like Bigfoot, he's walking around and why don't we find the bones? And why don't we find this? And he's there and they turn around. Is he good at hiding? All of that. Who's to say he's not in a being that can travel through dimensions or universes? And yeah, you don't see it because boom, he can absorb into the next. There are so many examples and stories out there of like some weird shit, which I'll get into. So to me, I believe in it wholeheartedly. I believe that we don't know shit, that we are specks of dust on an elephant's ass compared to what is of the known universe or the known parallel universe. What about you? What do you think?
I agree. There's so much out there that we just don't know about. There's probably a lot of things that, like you say, a lot of scientists somewhere around the world know, or somebody is aware of, but they're not able to present it to the average person yet because it's too much. I know Keith talked about, we were talking about UFOs, for example, on our other podcast that came from Gen X, and Keith is absolutely convinced that there's tons of known information about UFOs, for example. And the reason that you're seeing some of this stuff now is that the powers that be are testing the average person to see what they can handle and not handle, and how the public opinion is on UFOs and so on and so forth. So, because if you knew the whole truth, it would just be too much. It would cause a panic and this and that and the other. So, you never know. It could be something like that along something like this too. So,
that makes sense.
I don't know. It is a very interesting theory. I know you and I were talking, on Sunday, but maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just I'm just living in the fantasy world sometimes or whatever. But sometimes I've gotten a vibe. I don't know if to where you see somebody out on the street somewhere, and it just you look and you just have just a random eye contact or something like that, to where sometimes I've gotten a feeling in the past to where maybe I know this person and I can't place it.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Or you see somebody out somewhere and you can't place it. And sometimes you just sort of have a thought to where
that's the bleeding. That's the bleeding of the universes.
Yeah. Does that person maybe know me somewhere, somehow, but yet they can't interact with me, because if they did, it would screw something up or something like. And I also I hear some. Go ahead, please.
Or what if those memories are bleeding with your other self's memories? And yes, it's not. And maybe that person isn't from the parallel universe, but like they're important to you, or have something to do with your other parallel universe, and that parallel universe mind. Maybe that's what deja vu is.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Maybe oh, I felt like I've done this before. And then we've all had deja vu to where it's so strong that you pause and you go, I kind of know what's going to happen next.
You already talked about this.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm joking.
Oh, well, we have had a similar discussion of this in a past episode.
We have.
Maybe I have. But yeah, I mean, maybe there are. I mean, the only problem is the butterfly effect. If you squash a butterfly, everybody knows butterfly effect. So maybe you chose a different path at like 16, and your whole life changes. So at this point, this you and that you are on totally different paths. So maybe, but who's to say how many different universes there are? How many different versions of us there are? So maybe that deja vu touches briefly with something that has happened with another you. And that's where that's like, oh, that seems familiar. I don't know.
So do you agree with that in the sense of, okay, so that's I was going to ask that same question. So are these parallel universes just parallel to where, the other self is in the exact same place in life, or
maybe some of them?
Do you think there's possibilities to where other decisions and things have been made, like you said, and they're living, maybe they're the same age, but they're for better or for worse, based on whatever decisions that were made differently to what you made in your trajectory, if you will?
I think maybe both. I think there are some that you're going very parallel with, that you've both made the same decision, maybe a little bit slightly off, but nothing to take you off course that you're both on. But there's some to where like this guy made a decision here, so he's way off here. Like if you went to that universe, you're like, whoa, that guy's a homeless bum and a crackhead, or wow, that Brian, got hit by a train at 11. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think maybe it's infinite. Maybe it's just an infinite echo of life and universes. That's a fun part to me about this, that it is so ridiculous and unknown that you could just throw any idea out there.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to ask you, give me an example of another Brian. Good or bad? Give me one or two examples of different Brians in different universes, what he's doing, where he's at, where he went different. And again, you don't have to actually get super personal, just a general generic.
No, I've thought. I mean, I thought about these are things that you reflect on sometimes. That the birth of my daughter, right? So that's a big one for anybody, right? So if you have a kid or don't have a kid, so I was dating her mom, and things weren't going that well, and I was thinking about this. I'm not happy. We got to break up and stuff, and hung on a little bit longer, and in that period of time to where I knew I wanted to get out of that relationship, Peyton was conceived, and then it was a whole, what do you do? And it was, very difficult period of time, but it all worked out to where, But anyways, I reflect on that sometimes. What would you have done if you would have made that? And obviously, you wouldn't know. You would not know the beauty and the unconditional love in having a child,
and that Brian isn't missing it because he didn't know it.
Right, you would not know it, and I think about that sometimes. So the trajectory.
That Brian's lighting Cuban cigars with $100 bills.
You know what? I doubt that. Honestly, I doubt that. That Brian is in a tougher spot, probably.
Well, okay, but take of like that generic movie plot. Maybe that Brian is lighting $100 bills with Cuban cigars, and he became a millionaire. But in that tired movie plot, something's missing.
Oh yeah,
like something inside him is missing.
Oh, for sure. He
doesn't know what. Just like for you, something is missing, and that is money.
It's right, exactly. With money, but that would be a much more self-absorbed and spoiled brat type person, probably, that had to learn a lot of lessons with having the responsibility of caring for another person. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, yeah. So I definitely do reflect on that stuff very often. How about you?
My one of my variants, we'll call them, given the multiverse from Marvel. I like that term. The variant. One of my variant of Dean's stayed in broadcasting.
Yeah.
I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I went to broadcasting school, and I worked at a couple different radio stations doing various things, on air and off air and whatnot. But I left after we got pregnant with my son. It just timing and whatnot didn't work. So in a different variant, he went on into broadcasting, and like the WKRP in Cincinnati intro says, town to town, up and down the dial. Baby, you and me were never meant to be. Just maybe think of me once in a while. So he's off doing his radio thing. Whether he's successful or mildly successful, or just running up and just doing the day player deal, who knows? But that's just one. Another one is, in which that guy had his son, same as me, and then won the lottery. and he is masturbating with $100 bills around his dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the guy that I'm jealous of. But other than that, no, I think there's just a lot of different possibilities, and a lot of it does stem from of like everybody in their life saying, "What if?
Sure.
What if?"
Do you feel like sometimes, if you feel there's other variants out there of yourself, do you feel that sometimes they bleed over a little bit in the sense of you get the feeling that another part of you is trying to pull you in a different direction, and sometimes you have to pause and think, no, because if I go back to, it could be a negative,
Sure,
if you go back to some negative habits or some trajectory in your past that you might have been traveling down before, that the thought of going down that path is not good, and it keeps you focused on something different. Is that for maybe a variant, or is it just conscious?
That's kind of cool. I like that idea.
Okay.
I never really told anybody this before, Brian. So, I just want to tell you, just you. I actually, I met a variant Dean.
Okay.
He had come up to me and we had a conversation. And the one thing out of everything he told me, the one thing I do want to bring up, there is a different universe. There is a different life where the Rian Johnson Star Wars didn't get made. And life is so much better. There's no more wars. There's no more famine. There's no more disease. It's utopia because Rian Johnson's Star Wars didn't get made.
That's right. And a lot of Star Wars nerds are happier.
Brian, don't tell anybody about this. That's just between you and I. I wouldn't tell anybody that.
Okay. Yeah.
So another thing is when you talk about time variance or parallel universes, people talk about time slips. Are you familiar with this concept?
Why don't you explain it? Go ahead.
Okay, so a time slip is there are many stories out there, and I can go over a couple of them here, but the concept is that you are going about life and you experience something that seems out of place, out of time. Like it's like you slip into like 1967 for a moment. Okay. All right. For example, there's this guy. He was, I think it was in the 90s. He was in London, I believe. And I could be getting some of these, facts wrong or whatever, but the general concept is here. So he's in London. He's out shopping on a weekend with his wife, and she's going to go to this store. He goes, well, I'm going to go down a couple doors down to this record store, we'll call it. And he goes in there, and it's like, he says it's like the 1960s threw up. People were wearing the bobbed haircuts and the pin dresses, and the walls are covered with it's 1960 something in this store, and it's wild. He's looking around, it's so cool. He's talking to people. It's weird, and he walks out. He goes, I'm gonna go find my wife. She has to see this. And he walked out the door into current day 90s. He walks up, goes, honey, you got to see this. And she walks in, and it's a candle store. Like literally, he turned around, grabbed her, turned around, go in this door that he literally just walked out of, and it's a candle store. It's like, no. Where is this? And the lady, one of the ladies that I may have worked there or was a patron there, like he's kind of freaking out and making a deal of it. And she's like, honey, it wasn't a record store since like 1972 when that closed. That's one of the stories. Another story, quick example, and I'll make this very quick, is this couple. There was four of them. They were driving. It was very late. They're looking to pull over to find a place to sleep. They go in this big building, looked like a hotel. So they go in. and everything is old. Everything is just 1800s or 1700s, something like that. But it's very old. They spend even the night there. The sheets are itchy and everything's weird. The concierge is wearing old timey clothes. They literally think it is a getup, a gimmick. And when they leave and try to like go back, it's literally gone. Like because they get in their car, go to the place they were going to, and then on their way back they wanted to stop again because it was so neat, and literally it's gone. Like where it physically was empty. And again, they looked up the time, and there was a kind of modern or old school hotel or whatever in that place. So stuff like that. There's many. Look up time slips. Google time slips. It's a neat concept, but maybe that is that parallel universe, because, like I said earlier in this segment, time and relative life is kind of agreed upon by all of us. We don't really know what all of this is. We have a lot of smart people that takes really super good guesses, and they're probably right in the most part. But I think there's a lot of it that we don't understand. And I think there are some places on this earth that if you step in the right place at the right time, you could end up in, is that a different time, or are you slipping in a different dimension? Who knows? But I thought those are two fun stories I wanted to bring up, because to me, I think it's all one and the same.
I like it. Very interesting. What movie was this one? Where dreams were just an alternate reality. What was that in?
Was that? Oh,
was
that
Go ahead.
Were you about to say Pulp Fiction?
No.
No, that was the one. No. The one that was the movie where, like, the main character was like, he was like super into like not only like
that was Doctor Strange. That's what it was.
No,
that's what it was. It was Doctor Strange.
No, that was the one where the dude was like super into decor, and he had that super awesome liquor cabinet.
Yeah,
that popped down.
That's right. Now that wasn't an alternate universe. No, but actually that was in this universe.
Oh,
Dean.
Really?
Right. So in that universe, that person went to the Bellmark Amazon store. I think that's what you're thinking of here. So Bellmark, BELLEMARK, on Amazon, and they have that. They do indeed in this universe, maybe other universes as well, Dean.
Sure.
But they do have that wonderful wall-mounted liquor cabinet, beautiful woodwork. I have one myself. It's a great display piece. Store your bottles, store your glasses. It's a nice display. Flip the cabinet down. You have a nice shelf space to make your drink. Close it back up neatly. And also they sell beautifully crafted countertop compost containers as well. 2 different sizes. If you want to reduce your waste that you're throwing out into landfill, your food waste that is, check them out on Bellmark, BELLEMARK, on the Amazon store. Everything's delivered safely and efficiently and quickly through the Amazon service. Quality woodworking products at an affordable price.
Floating nightstands are beautiful as well.
Absolutely. Floating shelves and everything, like you say, it's great stuff. Go check them out, and we appreciate them being a sponsor. Mark and Ashley Coons, thank you so much. So there you go.
The movie that you were actually talking about.
That was Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, but that was when they were saying the dreams. There were no actual dreams. If you dreamt something, that was simply a glimpse into one of these parallel universes.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think, I mean, I don't know how true it is, but like scientists say that your brain cannot think of a brand new face. So anybody that you see in your dreams, even if it's in the background, cannot be a made up face. Your brain is unable to imagine a new face. So it's maybe somebody you've seen randomly, but like you said, I mean, who's to say that's not, stuff bleeding? I'm not saying that Marvel is telling us the actual facts of the multiverse, but I'm saying what's to say that shit like that isn't bleeding through?
Yeah, it's all part of the testing. They're all part of it, to where they're testing the public to see if we can handle the fact that there's multiverses and everything else out there with these movies and whatnot. Who knows?
Well, I mean, you say that in jest, but that's some of the people that has worked for the government. And again, this is their story, whether you believe it or not. But their stories is they work for the government, and that's what a lot of like alien movies and UFO movies are prepping us for, the knowledge of that there are extraterrestrials out there. But that's nothing that I say bleeds into it. Is who's to say that the aliens that zips by us above us is coming from Saturn or Jupiter? I know a lot of things come from Uranus, but who's to say a lot of these aliens aren't interdimensional? Who's to say that they don't zip through the multiverses and whatnot? I don't know. Just throwing it out there, bud.
All very interesting stuff, man. Yeah, do you think nostalgia, is it simply just a human emotion looking for something that's more comfort, or is something like that perhaps even tied to some of this stuff, to where you hear something and sometimes you could vividly place yourself at that moment with those feelings, or is that that's off base? That's nothing to do with any of this stuff. What do you think about that?
There's a lot of I don't know. I'm kind of torn. It's kind of like the deja vu thing. I mean,
yeah,
it's obviously anything we say is all just opinions by two idiots. But to me, I mean, who's to say that it's not something that we've experienced before, or before as in another dimension? Or fuck, who's to say that we don't just have to keep doing this over and over again until we get it right? So deja vu is something literally that we literally did a lifetime ago. We just are doing it over. I don't know.
All right, good stuff, man.
It's just all I know ultimately when it comes down to it, Brian, is it's hard to replicate, duplicate, or make better this podcast. Because
that's right.
If you ask everybody around the world, this is goddamn perfection.
That's right. That's right. That's right. That they've been exposed to some alternate reality where if they listen too frequently, we are just completely megalomaniacs out there running amok.
Right.
Which I could see that.
Sure.
Running, just too high on power.
Well,
so
what do they say? Yeah. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
That's right.
That's probably in other universes. What happens is this podcast gets so big that we take over the world and we destroy it.
Yeah. Yep. Maybe just like Australia or just something like that for fun. I don't know. I don't know why I picked Australia, but maybe some other country would be better. I don't know what to think. What to think about this?
Well, are you saying that we become so huge that we take over the world? Do we each get our own continent? And you want Australia?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, you can have Australia. I like that.
Yeah, seems like a nice place to go, and
sure.
Seems like
I think Nick could have
Canada for sure.
Well, sure, yeah. So he'll get North America and South America. They're touching.
Sure. Yeah.
And I think maybe I could deal with I don't know, some sort of small island nobody knows about, and that way I don't have to fuck the world up too much. Something like that.
Yeah, I like it. All right, so we go on about this stuff here. Very interesting topic.
I do want to thank you for indulging me on my my paranormal nerdum.
No, it's cool. I don't know that use the shop. I don't know that I'm fully convinced yet.
Sure.
Not based on your particular points, but in general. But it is very interesting that again, actual experiments are being conducted. It is a very fascinating theory. I would like to hope that if there are parallel universes, that there's some versions of us that are hopefully they're happy and doing well, and if
better looking.
Yes, of course. And if they're not, that somehow we pick up on the lessons learned and we try to continue to make our lives a little bit better. I don't know. So, yeah, just very interesting stuff here, and we'll see what the future holds. Go ahead.
All right, so we're wrapping up. So this is garbage time. So I'll bring this up.
Sure.
I've always wanted to do is be in a crowd and run up to one person and be like, hey, oh. And when they turn around, I'm like, oh, shit. Oh, my God. Oh, you look so young. Oh, my. I'm sorry. You don't even know what you are yet. Fuck. I'm sorry. And just run off. They now have to go back into their life with that encounter and figure out for the rest of their life, what the fuck was that? It seems like it would be a lot of fun to do to somebody.
Sure.
You've just fucked somebody's life up mentally. At the very least, in the back of their mind.
Yeah, at least give them a story.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I get sometimes to where I've had so many people that thought they recognized me from somewhere.
Sure.
It's just maybe it's a common features and stuff like that. But even those things have stuck with me over time to where it's like, you are this person, I know you.
Right.
So the whole doppelganger thing that's out there, that everybody has people that look just like them and all that. I don't know.
Maybe that's multiverse bleeding through.
Maybe.
What if what if all of it is all fucked up, right? And if somebody comes up, all right, how's this? Somebody runs up to you and says something like, Brian, and you don't know them, right? So they run up to you, Brian, bet on 2, and just runs away. You don't know what to bet, where to bet, you know what the fuck they're talking about, but that will stick in your head. So 2 will now be your favorite number.
Sure.
So anytime you bet on 2, right? I don't know. Just being fucked up.
Well, Saturday night, some guy came up to me and goes, bet on the Virgin. Walked away.
Somebody said it to your prom date, too. So
yeah, that's right. Now, that guy told me, bet everything you have on the Virgin, and walked away. I bet $2 and won $40. So that was it. See, you never know. If I would have listened to him, and
you became richer than you could ever imagine.
More. That's right. So, all right. So we are curious out there. Do you, listeners, believe, whether you're in this parallel universe or maybe another one, do you believe in this? Share your thoughts, or is this a bunch of garbage and you guys are
hooey.
Just hooey? That's exactly right. This conversation would be good hanging out at Nick's neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime as well to continue the conversation.
Little jazz cabbage going on.
Yeah, something like that. So, do you believe in this stuff, or is it just you guys are crazy and no, it's after all that? So, we're just interested in your opinions out there. So, contact us.
And this one, I'm really fascinated about. Any listener that has anything to say, I really am interested in people's opinions. So, whether you're hearing this as a short clip on TikTok or YouTube, comment either way. Anyway, go to Facebook, bring it up in our Facebook posts. So I think it'd be fun. So
yeah.
And another thing, if you're still listening at this point, this is garbage time, right? It's the end.
Sure.
If you're tell us a story. I don't know if anybody's going to do this, but at least somebody tell us a story of your alternate universe and what they're doing. Have fun with it. Just fucking long, short, doesn't matter. Write a story about your doppelganger or about our doppelgangers, the idiots.
Sure. Love it. Love it. All right. Well, in parallel universes, Dean, including this one, it is now time to close out this particular episode. Talked about a lot of things. So, new episodes drop every single week in all universes.
All of them.
All. Right? So, and we could be found in any universe you might be listening to right now. We could be found on, again, all your major podcast platforms. Our link tree came from Gen X. I keep saying it came from Gen X. See, I did it again. I did it 2 weeks in a row.
Don't edit that out.
Because again, I do that read on the other podcasts.
Right.
Yeah. So another parallel universe, I got that correct. So our link tree, Convincing Idiots, link tree. Look us up there. Or again, our website, convincingidiots.wordpress.com. Check us out there as well. And we appreciate your support out there. Thanks for indulging us. Thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. And have we convinced you that in any universe we are still thoroughly entertaining and handsome?
Gotta be in one of them. It ain't this one. Did you just see that shit? If you liked what you saw, like and subscribe. Come back. You're going to want to.